Welcome to Target Market Insights, the multifamily and marketing podcast. Each week, John Kasman interviews multifamily and marketing experts to teach you how to find the best places to invest, attract investors, and grow your portfolio. You are listening to Target Market Insights with your host, John Kasman.
Welcome to Target Market Insights, the multifamily and marketing show. I'm your host, John Kasman, and I got to thank you for joining us for what's going to be another great episode. Now, if you're enjoying this show, do me one quick favor, leave us that 5-star rating and review, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Now, today we're going to be talking to Alvin Tucker. High-level real estate investors come to Alvin when they want a consistent and predictable flow of conversations with qualified, motivated sellers and buyers from Facebook ads and automated follow-up systems. Now, his team uses empathy as the basis for shaping the impact that not only Erupt Sales LLC has, but their clients' businesses have on the people that they serve as well. Now, a lot of business owners focus on the surface level benefits that result from their services, not knowing and understanding the deeper and more significant impact of the transformations that they can help make with their business. Let's welcome to the show, Alvin Tucker.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate anybody watching this as well.
Absolutely. Alvin, listen, it's good to have you on. I very quickly went through your bio. Why don't you take a minute and give us a little bit more context of yourself and what you've built with Erupt Sales?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm a business owner in regards to like digital marketing. We specialize in helping real estate investors, grow their businesses, find qualified leads, because today, in this day and age, it's not good enough, in my opinion, to just deliver anybody just leads. You know what I mean? So I value my clients' time. My team values you all's time as well. And we take pride in delivering you leads that are already qualified. So we look at, marketing when it comes to resonate with people, like in art. As you can see, obviously I dyed my hair blonde. I don't know why I did it yesterday. I could have waited a day, but here I am. But it's just the art is important to me. You know what I mean? Expression is important to me. And so this is a big way for me to do that in terms of marketing. So we specialize in working with real estate investors through Facebook ads. We'll bring you motivated sellers, buyers in the time when the market just shifted, and it really became a buyer's market overnight. They had a plethora of deals to choose from. You know what I mean? When things are shifting like that, we take pride in qualifying leads for you in a time and help ushering you through not only situations that are smooth and easy, but in times where it can get it can be ripped and it can be rough in terms of like a pandemic as well.
Yeah, and real estate's one of those industries that's a bit slow adapting to technology. I know a lot of people are still doing like paper contracts. They're still physically meeting with, renters to go sign a lease at a Starbucks or something like that, where there's so many advantages in using technology right now. And people are starting to warm up to it. But, considering it's 2020, people are a little bit slow adapting to some of the technologies. So when you start thinking about marketing and digital marketing, a lot of folks just aren't doing that right now. They're still, posting online. They might post a listing online or post a property to the MLS, but they're not necessarily taking these advanced approaches. Even when it comes to finding off-market deals, you still talk to people. Most people are using direct mail, bandit signs, a lot of the tried and true methods from, 10, 20, even 30 years ago, people are employing. And I know you're focusing a little bit more on digital. How much do you see kind of that gap or that mindset as far as trying to get new clients to understand how much they can actually do when they leverage a digital approach as opposed to some of the old school ways of getting things done?
That's a great question. The way that I see it is like this, just from everyday experiences in terms of what we've experienced with some of our clients. For example, one thing that's good about the pandemic, you know what I mean? There's always like a silver lining to things like this, is it is in some way either force people or usher people into a lane of doing things that they should have already been doing. So, for example, we have clients that are in various markets around the country, and sometimes, now look, we can get you spot on when it comes to targeting your local market. Sometimes leads will come out, somebody shares the ad or shares a post or something like that. They'll come out from a little bit outside the market or something like that. And we would have conversations with clients, and where they say, this lead came out from outside of our market, it's too far away. And I remember saying in some instances, hey, look, there's no such thing as too far away. You know what I mean? And this was like a year ago or something like that. So we were already discussing doing things virtual, taking our operations virtual, doing virtual wholesaling and things of that nature. And so one thing I can say about the pandemic, at least, is this forced people, and I don't care whether you're looking at doctors and the way that they do checkups now, this just in essence forced us to do a lot of the things, plan ahead in terms of finances. And so it's in essence forced us into doing things that we probably already should have been doing. So there's a lot of investors that I talk to that already have virtual operations. A lot of people aren't in that realm. I just think that there's always a level above what you can do, what you thought you were capable of doing in terms of really bringing a virtual aspect to your business.
Yeah, and I think too, when you think about the virtual aspect, one of the great advantages that digital marketing and just this approach in general has is it's more data driven. So unlike, posting a bandit sign on a busy intersection, where anybody driving by can see it, and you're just hoping to, get anyone, right? So it's a shotgun blast approach. With using digital marketing, you can really be more specific, you can be more targeted, you can be more focused and more intentional on who you put your communications in front of. So that should allow you to have better conversion rates. But I know some folks really struggle with figuring out how to leverage the technology. Talk to us a little bit about that and kind of what it means to get qualified leads when you're going out and using these platforms.
Yeah, that's a great point. When a lot of times, this is why I love working with real estate investors, because we got a motto, hey, look, if it isn't tracked, it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And investors, as investors, you all are so phenomenal when it comes to, hey, look, we're looking at data. We're looking at, you know what I mean? We're making sure measuring our KPIs and things of that nature. You want to keep in mind when it comes to, hey, look, this is not like it's putting up a billboard, which billboards are fine. But when you got a billboard up and people are riding by on the highway, it's like you don't have control over who sees the billboard. Is it targeted? What age are they? What demographic are they? Is this somebody that just inherited a house? Is this someone on one of your lists? You know what I mean? So you want to keep in mind that this is a better way to target people. It's a more efficient way to target people. And that's really one of the biggest things about doing Facebook ads. And even though we specialize in Facebook ads, even if you're looking into like Google ads or something like that, maybe even YouTube ads, because real estate is such a visual industry, but that this will work for you. The overarching theme of all of this is that, hey, look, you can track this. You can do some really, really fine targeting for people, because you need to help these people and they need your help. And so you want to make sure that, hey, look, if there's something that's working and for us, and no matter what platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram ads, anything like that, if you say, hey, look, this is working for us, you need to be able to look at the data and say, hey, look, all we need to do is double down on this. If it's working at $10 a day, if I throw $20 a day, in essence, you know what I mean? So that's one of the biggest things about marketing online, digital marketing, is because you can not only look at the data, but you can also, it helps you to, hey, look, you make shifts quicker. Whereas if you get something from like a billboard or something, it's hard to say, hey, look, I can double down on this. You know what I mean? So that's my take on that. And I think that's a great point about being data driven, especially for investors.
Yeah, so let's jump into a little bit, right? We're talking about, just how to jump into this. You said you specifically focus on Facebook ads, but Google ads, YouTube ads, there's certainly other platforms that people can engage with. We said real estate investors very broadly. Most of our listeners on this show focus on multifamily, small multifamily, mid-sized to large. Is this something that multifamily owners should be looking at, or is this mostly for wholesalers?
I would look. I'm a little different. I'm somebody that is working with a lot of investors, and most of the clients that we take on are doing flips, they're doing wholesaling, they're buying and holding single family properties and things of that nature. Excuse me. However, me personally, I'm more interested in multifamily and commercial investments. You know what I mean? So this is something that when I speak to people or speak to investors, I think as if I'm in your shoes. And what I would do, I would be doing online advertising for sure. If you want to find other partners, you know what I mean? If you want to fill vacancies, so there's all of these different ways that you can market. The only thing that changes when you're doing digital marketing, I'm not going to say the only thing that changes, but one of the biggest things that changes is that, hey, look, your messaging. So whereas, for example, for a motivated seller, hey, look, if you're in a distressed situation and, a pandemic, you may need some cash or you may inherit a property, we take the necessary precautions and we're safe and we can buy your property for cash. You know what I mean? Whereas if it's multifamily, it's like, hey, look, if you maybe fell on hard times or something like that and you have a cash flow property, you just don't want to deal with it, then we can take it on. So the only thing that really changes is messaging. But if I was in multifamily, I would be doing digital marketing as well. If not because it just works, then because there's not a lot of people in the multifamily arena that are doing digital marketing.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you said, there's an opportunity to talk to current owners and try to engage with them, sending a message out that maybe they're interested in selling, as well as partners, right? So when we talk about multifamily, a lot of times with these larger deals, you're working with investors. You're trying to connect with other people who have capital and pulling those resources together to go out there. Why not use some digital advertising, a Facebook ad, to try to figure out how do you find those potential partners and those potential investors? So this is something that is really untapped. You don't see a whole lot of people leveraging this approach, and it's something that's pretty interesting, right? So I've used Facebook ads primarily for our conference, the Midwest Real Estate Networking Summit. And I will tell you from my standpoint, I spoke to Facebook directly. I have a marketing background. I've done digital marketing before. And even for me, I found it pretty complex. Even talking to Facebook, I still found it pretty complex to create the ads, create the custom audiences, and put everything in place to go out there. And while we got a lot of impressions, ultimately, I didn't see a lot of results to the bottom line. So it's easy to say, hey, it didn't work. But I know that, hey, there's something here that we probably need to tweak. How do you approach that? I mean, there seems to be a lot of layers and a lot of complication to actually create a solid, effective campaign. How would you go about that?
For me, it's, hey, look, I understand that it's a complex arena. This is something that I've dedicated so much of my time to, obsessively doing market research, just honing my skills. And you have to really look at it that way. If I was an investor, even if you don't want to hire an agency or a freelancer to help you out with it, even if you're doing it yourself, you're fully capable of doing such. However, you want to make sure that, just like anything else, when you get into investing, I'm pretty sure you have a mentor and other people have mentors. I have mentors. You want to start there. And if you want to get a course, you want to start there. And then you don't want to be discouraged by things that happen. Like, for instance, the online landscape shifts just like anything else. So if you're on marketing in a time like December, it's one of the most competitive times of the year. You know what I mean? For Facebook ads, it's Christmas and there's Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, and there's all of these people marketing. So you want to be able to pivot and move quickly. So once you get the basis down, the main thing is not to get discouraged. So if you find out it doesn't work, it's going to take you a decent amount of time to understand not only the mechanics of setting up the ads, which a lot of times are not super complicated. However, to read the data, to understand, to set expectations for yourself and say, hey, look, if a lead comes in at $40 per lead, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? And some people, I think they get caught up in this game of, not even necessarily a game, but they get caught up in this, some view of, hey, look, it's not working. And that's what a lot of people in anything, they work out, they don't see results, and not working. So, if it doesn't come fast enough, my thing to people is, hey, look, you're fully capable of doing it. But when it comes to online marketing, it's a game, like it's fun for me to do because I'm skilled at it. But if you're in an arena playing with skilled players and you have to play at an accelerated pace, it may not be so fun for you. So one thing is to not get discouraged about it, to continuously hone your skills, because this is like something that you need to be skilled at. And then to understand, hey, look, there's going to be times you're going to have to pivot, just like anyone, just like in investing. And look, now we're looking at creative deals in the midst of the pandemic. You know what I mean? So you want to keep all these things in mind. Just be encouraged about it. Really learn the skill and be passionate about that. Obsessive in a lot of cases. Do what's already working. If you buy a course, do what's already working, and surround yourself with people that are doing well.
Yeah, good tips there. And for a lot of people who are, looking to leverage this, your point of staying consistent. Don't expect to see results immediately. It may take time, especially if this is a new brand or new offering that people aren't familiar with. You can't expect them to click on it, sign up, buy right away. And if it depends on the purchase price too, right? I mean, if you're, we were selling a $400-$500 ticket or whatever it was to the event. If you're selling something that is pricey, it's going to be harder to see that versus if you had a free download or a $10 book or something like that, where it might be easier for someone to say, oh, sure, I'll go ahead and make that investment. So just keep that in mind as well. And that's a part of the targeting process. Walk me through that, right? You talked about, surrounding yourself with mentors and other folks who have the knowledge. And they're different agencies. And you've got a company right now that focuses on helping real estate investors kind of leverage Facebook ads and different technologies and create these automated systems and follow-ups. What is that process like? Because I know a lot of people are like, dude, I'm not going to do this by myself. I'm not going to spend the time to figure out how to be an online magician. But, that's something where you can step in and kind of help. So walk me through what kind of that onboarding process is like. How do you take a look at my business, my goals, my objectives to help us set up a campaign that might be successful?
Well, the first thing for us is we're very selective with who we choose to work with, because it doesn't matter if we're the best, if we're magicians in this arena or not. It doesn't matter if the brand is not one that people will gravitate to, because guess what? People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. It's something I said. It sounds cliche, but it's just the truth. We're not selling shirts here. We're not buying shirts. You're buying properties. And if you're multifamily, you're buying big properties. You know what I mean? And if you want to find partners, you have to deal with people that you really trust. So in order for us, the first thing we're going to do is vet who we're dealing with, because it doesn't matter if we are showing ads to people and these people are smart, whether it's a seller. Look, they got their picker, they got their options out. They're getting direct mail, they're getting cold calls. You know what I mean? So for us, we're like, hey, look, we have to align ourselves. We look at it more like a partnership with brands and investors that are already doing well. You already have momentum. All we want to do is just take a big spotlight and just shine it on you. You know what I mean? Basically, in essence. And so that's the first thing that we look at, is how strong is the foundation? Is it something where people can look at you and they feel like, hey, look, they can run into you in a Walmart, they can run into you in Wegmans, are you doing community service? Are you showing pics with your family? And we start with the cornerstone in terms of branding first. And then from that point, we'll get into what markets you want to target. You know what I mean? We obviously have ads at work, and we can launch and get you results within the first few days. However, we want to make sure first, obviously, the brand is important. And then we want to make sure from that point going forward to figure out, hey, look, what type of deals are you focusing on the most? You know what I mean? Are you looking at, are you focusing on sell-tos? Are you focusing on other creative deals? Is this going to be something where we can actually, because we have ads at work, is it going to be something where we are going to be able to tailor these ads even more to your situation? So these are things that it all starts really with the brand. And then from that point, we start to get in, and when we get to launching the ads, we can launch the ads as a general ad that we have. However, if it's a situation like in a pandemic, we start focusing on different types of deals, then we can tailor those to you. But if I were anyone speaking to investors watching this, just make sure your brand is is it a picture of you, your face on the profile, rather than just the business logo. You know what I mean? Business logos work, but I would make sure a lot of the foundation is straight first, because again, sellers are smart, they're intelligent, they have options. If you're looking at yourself and you maybe haven't had the best results or something to that extent, analyze within your branding and your marketing. If you were a seller, would you know what I mean? So these are a lot of things. That's what we go through. We go through the branding first, and then we go into the ads, and if we can tailor them, and then little things that setting expectations and stuff like that.
No, great points on the branding. I mean, that's a huge component. Obviously, a lot of people, some folks do spend time on that, and a lot of folks don't. They just make the calls, and we're advocates as well that it helps to build a brand, so there's trust built in. That's why, we buy houses, and the different companies that are out there that actually have these things trademarked, they succeed because people see that and they say, oh yeah, I've seen your materials. And even if it's a franchise and they've never seen your company, it helps. So definitely the branding is key. what are some of the mistakes you see people making when it comes to creating Facebook ads or Facebook ad campaigns?
I've actually, one that was popped in my mind as soon as I finished speaking was I was talking to an investor one time, and not to single out anybody, but they were having someone run Facebook ads for them, and the person that they hired, even though they might have been doing a decent job, I'm not sure how good of a job they were doing, but they were running it. This investor, he happened to be an agent as well, and they were running his ads from his agent page, and so it's not congruent. And I'll explain it this way. So if you're running ads saying you can buy people's houses quickly for cash, or you're an investor and this is what you do, a professional house buyer, and people go do research and they click on the ad and they see that it's coming from a page that is geared towards people that are one of the first-time home buyers, or, you know what I mean? Like people that want to buy nice houses or sell nice houses. Now it's an issue in terms of being congruent. So it's a disconnect for them. So that's one of the big ones. It's like, if they come to your page, they need to see, hey, look, exactly what they saw in the ad, So that's one of the things I see people mess up with. A lot of times with lead forms. So one of the big things that we talked about before this in terms of making sure, again, we talk about bringing qualified leads. We'll bring you quantity, but we're not huge on, hey, we're just going to dump a boatload of leads on your head. You know what I mean? So one of the big things is like making sure you have qualified leads. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see is in terms of lead form. So when people click on your ad, and look, this is our service, we can help you in these ways. Click this button below. They click the button. They go to the lead form. The lead form may not be, I'm not saying pack it with 100 questions or anything like that, but be very, very selective with the questions that you choose to ask. And then also make sure that you make it difficult to actually fill out the form. So don't make it easy for people to fill out the form. Don't use automatic placements. If some of you all know what that means, where it just automatically populates. If you click the form and the name is already there, the email is there based on the information that's already saved in their computer, because some of the, we all have old passwords and old, phone numbers in our computer. So one of the big ones is like making sure that you make it a little more difficult. Make these people work for you, and so that you have qualified leads coming in, and then you also have leverage, so that you don't have to bicker and go back and forth with these people, no matter what lane you're in. You shouldn't have to. And one of the things for us, one of the sincere joys that I get out of doing this is that changing the narrative for investors. People think that, hey, look, these people are going to lowball me. You'll see it in the comments. You're going to steal my house. You're going to rob it. You know what I mean? But when you make people work for your service, they start to find more value in what you have to offer. The reason why I love investors is because I don't think a lot of investors understand the gravity. That's what you spoke to earlier in my bio, of the transformations, the closure that you bring someone from buying their house that they've inherited from someone that's passed away. You know what I mean? That to me is priceless. You shouldn't have to go back and forth with someone. So just getting back to my point, that's an important thing for me to note for others, so that you know the value of your service. But number one is like making sure everything's congruent across your brand. Make sure that you have like testimonial videos. You don't have. I know investors that, hey, look, they're doing a lot of deals, and if you look at their online presence, because online presence is just real estate, you wouldn't even know. That's a problem. If it doesn't look at something that's congruent, if it's a disconnect, there's too many options, people get confused, or people get confused, they don't take action. And then also the lead form as well. Make sure that you are qualifying these people to make sure that they are the best fit for your service, because your time is the most valuable asset that you have.
Yeah, so to replay that, first and foremost, what we have to do is make sure our message is consistent across the board. Whatever we're talking about in the ad that they see, when they click through that, that's what they should find when they come to the page. So if you're a real estate agent, and you're talking about buying multifamily, for instance, don't send them to your real estate agent single family page. Send them to your multifamily page where you're talking about what you do there. The second piece you talked about was the lead form to help qualify them. And I want to ask a couple of follow-up questions here, but really you said to make it difficult, adding a lot of questions or adding enough questions where it can be thoroughly filled out and kind of making that person work. Some may say that that's counterintuitive because the drop off, usually is higher the more questions or the more things you ask someone, right? So if I come in, it's quick, 3 to 5 question thing, you get more leads, more people fill it out. If you ask 10 questions, then I got to sit and think and go get some numbers and go pull out some documents. That usually, is going to have people drop off. Talk to me a little bit more about why you think this is an important step to make sure you're adding more difficult questions and more thorough questions at this stage in the process.
Because your time is so valuable. And as investors, you all are used to, I mean, probably like upwards of 90% of investors obviously are doing, a lot of their success is based on like man hours. You know what I mean? So your boots on the ground, you're making calls and stuff like that. You really, you don't have the time to afford to entertain every single person. You know what I mean? You have to, you want to have leverage. One of the things about in online digital marketing that's so great is that you have leverage. It's inbound marketing. Outbound, you're calling people, you call them during the pandemic, you got people cursing you out and stuff like that. Even though you're there to help, you can actually help. There's not that same friction that comes across when you're doing inbound marketing. So making it so it's not so much, it's not going to cost you so much. Don't have a lot of questions. Maybe get the name. What we do is we get name, we get the email address, first name, last name, email address, phone number, and the address of the property. And then from there, we'll qualify and we'll have a system qualify right after that. But the way that we ask questions is a little different. What number should I text with my cash offer rather than just asking phone number? You know what I mean? What's the address of the property that you need to sell? So these are the type of things. Just get the most important information right there. But the thing that's the most important is that you have the leverage. This is inbound marketing. You don't have to worry so much. Now, don't get carried away with all types of questions until you get the information. And so the most important thing here, the most valuable thing, in my opinion, is having people come to you. That changes the whole game. I don't care if you're dating somebody, if you got people coming to you, it changes everything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If it's dentist, doesn't matter. You got inbound leads coming to you. You have leverage. It changes the game because, people, their message has resonated with you.
No, that's powerful. Absolutely. The inbound marketing approach is a strong way to grow. And I think that's really what you're getting into. And it's hard to do that with other fields or other strategies. But by doing this, by setting up the forums, you allow people to self-select who's really serious, who's looking for help, what's their time frame, and it allows you to focus your efforts. So you're not calling every single lead that comes across or every person who reaches out. You're letting them self-qualify. You're letting them raise their hand and say, hey, I'm pretty serious about selling my house or investing or whatever it is that you're doing with your inbound marketing, but you allow them to self-select and then you can prioritize how you spend your time. So that's really smart there. You also talked about testimonials and having testimonials on your website. When we talk about the things that we're doing, what's some of your best practices for capturing those testimonials and making sure we include that?
Good point. For us, I grow with my client. I grow just like anyone else. And so when it comes down to getting testimonials, I realize that is a difficult thing for anyone to do. Well, I'm not saying everyone, but most people, it's a difficult thing. You're asking people to get on camera and to say, hey, look, I was in a tough situation in most cases, or, and I was able to get help and worrying about who sees it. One of the things that I see, and again, once I saw that this was something that we needed to address, we created a document for it. And if somebody sees this and they want the document, I'll be happy to email. And so you have to really put yourself, first of all, frame it the right way in your mind. Don't convince yourself in your mind that this is going to take you pulling out teeth to get this. If you frame it already that, hey, look, I did this person a phenomenal service. I helped bring closure. I helped, they're going through a divorce or something like this, and I was able to ease it, get them more money. They already deal with fees. If you're a multifamily, you're able to get vacancies, or you were able to get partners for a deal that it seemed it was out of reach. Somebody shouldn't have a problem giving you a testimonial. And then also, it's important for you to incentivize people. Hey, look, I'll give you a $100 gift card, give you a $50 gift card, send you some wine or something to that extent. And then make sure that people understand why you're doing it. Hey, look, we're doing this testimonial. even though it may be uncomfortable for you, heck, it may be uncomfortable when I leave testimonials sometimes. I consume just like you do. I've been served. I take on services just like you do. And so we're doing this so that your story can touch someone else who's in a similar situation and can help them get the help they need, rather than them saying or being on the line and missing out on this opportunity and going through this pain or that stress that can take years off of their life. And that's a serious thing. So just make sure that, you're incentivizing people. They understand the gravity of what you're doing, that it's not about us. You know what I mean? Like, we're not on the podcast for us. We're on the podcast for people that are watching this and the people that they serve. So always taking that mindset when it comes to testimonials will help you get testimonials faster. And if you're not giving testimonials, I had this with a client, and they know where they are, and they said, hey, look, we're having trouble getting testimonials. I said, look, well, why don't you give us a testimonial first, and then you're going to attract the same clients and people into your business according to who you are. So when you start giving testimonials, I'll bet anything that you're going to get testimonials. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of testimonials, if you got some value out of this episode or any of the other episodes, make sure you leave that 5-star rating and review, just like Alvin said. Okay. Check them out at Erupt Sales LLC. This has been real good. We're about to transition and get into our Bullseye round. You ready?
I'm always ready. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready, brother.
I love it. Give me a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
I would say, this is an interesting one. It's kind of off the wall, but like not taking care of my mental health. As entrepreneurs, a lot of times we are so into our business, we're so on the go. And I was going through a lot. I've overcome a lot in my life, and I didn't necessarily. I'm used to being leaned on for advice and for strength, and I happily welcome that. But I didn't necessarily take into account my mental health. And so that weighed on me a lot, especially last December and whatnot. And so that was a failure in my eyes. And then the way that it turned it into a win is that it helped me become more self-aware. It helped me to analyze, hey, look, you in terms of your mental health, it's been disrupted, or there's a disconnect. It's plaguing you in terms of your physical energy and things of that nature. Well, how do we turn this into a win? Why don't we eat better? You know what I mean? Why don't we start eating better? Why don't we start meditating consistently, because I've been inconsistent with that. So what are we consuming? What am I consuming? So a lot. And so this has helped me in that instance when I wasn't taking care of my mental health. Then at some point I said, hey, look, I need to analyze within myself where this is coming from, and then how do we address that? So now being a more healthy person, physically, mentally, spiritually, so that I turned that into a win for sure.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
I would say if you're looking for a way to dominate your industry and save a lot of time, I'm always an avid fan of plugging. It's called AIVA, HIRE AIVA. So when the leads come in from the lead form, we get the information, the basic information. They have a team of ISAs, basically virtual assistants, if you will, that 24/7 will contact the lead within 2 minutes of the lead coming in. So if you sleep at 3 a.m., they will contact the lead. Hey, look, we help a lot of people in so-and-so situations. Why is it that you need to sell? Or how much is owed on the property? You know what I mean? What type of repairs is needed? So you can set that up for multifamily. You can set that up if you're an agent watching this as well. So I think that's a great platform.
Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
Well, I would say that I got breakthrough advertising. So I just got gifted that. So I'm going to say that one for me. I mean, I haven't gotten too deep into it yet, but it's on my computer as a PDF right now. So it's just, we're on a platform, we're talking about marketing. That's almost one of the holy grails of marketing and advertising. So you want to check out breakthrough advertising for sure.
Give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
Taking a walk. We're in the midst of a pandemic right now. It's easy to neglect the things, like going outside. It's easy to neglect, hey, look, I get caught up. Maybe you're in fear of what can happen or anything like that. Or maybe you're down, but taking a simple walk. I take a walk around the block. It's getting warmer out here, thank goodness, So I'll make sure to take my walk, and I'm consistent in that every day just to refresh my mind, recharge my batteries, and just bring clarity.
What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you were starting out?
To get a mentor, the value of a mentor. I was one of these people that was braggadocious, and I wanted all the credit for myself. I didn't want people that had say, hey, look, I played a hand in having this guy's success. You know what I mean? So I didn't realize it was like a numbskull attitude, but just to understand the value. There's a lot of people out here that not having a mentor or pursuing a mentor, maybe you got burned or something like that. Don't let that hold you back, because having a mentor, the greatest people, I mean, if Bill Gates is a mentor, come on, you gotta have, and I would never go a long period of time without a mentor.
What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew just 12 months ago?
Well, I wish we were gonna have a pandemic, Shoot, that would help. But I wish I knew back then more, because the pandemic actually ushered me into a situation where I had to get more focused into, like, an obsessive focus into learning more about creative deals, because I can get by as a digital marketing magician or savant. I can get by with just writing ads that are powerful, that get people to come in. And I don't need to know necessarily about so many deals. However, from hopping on podcasts and things of that nature, if you want to perform to the best level, you have to be able to make shifts quickly. You have to be able to get on podcasts and listen to segments and panels. And you have to be able to shift really quickly, especially in market times like these. So I wish I had known more and dove into investing deeper from a deal standpoint, structuring deals, contracts, and things of that nature.
What are you curious about right now?
I'm curious about health in terms of, like, eating right. I'm using, like, a lot of, like, natural products for skin and, like, hair. I dye my hair, but I'm using like a lot of natural products. I can put on avocados right now, stuff like that. Whereas I wasn't necessarily focused on that before. I'm really curious more about taking care of my temple right now.
All right, so you are in Erie, Pennsylvania. Give me the best place to grab a bite out there in Erie.
I'm just gonna go with Sarah's. There's a restaurant called Sarah's right now. It just opened back up. It's near the peninsula where the lake is. So you drive down there. Generally people stop by there on the way to the lake or back from the lake, and you can sit outside. And it's just like a nice atmosphere. The aesthetic is wonderful. It's an awesome place.
Alvin, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
You can find me on Facebook, Alvin Tucker II. You can find me on LinkedIn, Alvin Tucker, or you can find me on Instagram. That's Forbes, like Forbes down baby. So either any one of those ways is fine with me.
Love it. Alvin, listen, lots of good information here. I love the way you talked about, really the advantages of leveraging Facebook ads, looking at digital marketing holistically, and the focus on inbound marketing to save your time, leverage, use leverage to prioritize where you place your energy, the phone calls that you make, the follow-ups that you make. Inbound marketing is a great way to save you time in building your business and growing your customers, getting more deals done. So thank you for coming on the show. We look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in as well.